Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, indeed, of course, it's the Sunday edition. And as you know, of course, we put some spiritual input. It's not that I am preaching any religious doctrine per se, or trying to convert anyone. But of course, my belief, of course, is nestled in the Shouter Baptist concept, the Shouter Baptist dogma, the Shouter Baptist ritual. And of course, I know that some of you may be Hindus, or some will be, of course, Muslims, or some will be other faiths. And even, of course, the agnostic and those who believe, of course, in nature and science, whichever. The fact of the matter is that what religion does, or those kinds of belief does, is of course make certain that we all have a moral and ethical compass, and we would know, of course, the difference between wrong and right, and that, of course, what is best for, let's say, yourself, your family, and the general society. And while there may be competing interests from time to time, at the end of the day, if we are truly Democrats, we will have a level of tolerance, and that, of course, is also extended to, of course, anti-bigotry conduct, meaning that we should not have any bias or any reservations or any antagonism for any belief, even if it is nestled in one's religious belief. This is a melting pot, this is a democracy, and as a consequence, we must have a certain level of tolerance. Let's go back to the music. Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, South, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. This is, yesterday, Corridor Transformation, your host, Lennox Smith. That song finished on time, as we have, of course, our first caller already. I've not started to give my introduction, but that is all right. We'll go straight to the line. Pleasant good night, welcome to the Corridor.
I just wanted to be sure that you're on.
Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. All right. So just log on. All right, my friend. Yes, indeed. Well, of course, I thought it was a bit early, and of course, for a purpose, that caller, that is. And that is, of course, to find out if we are on. Yes, of course, tell a friend. Make sure, of course, we will resume our campaign to get to 40,000. And, of course, as the saying goes, you reach for the sky, and if you land at the level of the clouds, then of course you would have achieved a major, let's say, milestone. Because I'll tell you this: when I, of course, predicted 39 seats for the UNC coalition of interest, but of course that would have been the maximum in Trinidad. But of course, aiming for a massive victory, in other words, aiming for a landslide victory. And of course it came. Because you set your standard so high that what eventually manifests itself, even though you didn't reach the totality of the number, is sufficient to say that you would have done a good job a landslide victory, 26 seats. So congratulations, of course, to all who contributed. But of course, we have a situation where, of course, those who were doing us harm, or who today, if they were in office, we would have had, of course, a terrible day, or terrible days, or a terrible 2 months so far from the 28th of April. Yes, we would have had a terrible period. Could you imagine property tax? Could you imagine increase in electricity? Could you imagine an intensification of the police and that of the transportation and licensing officers on the roads, harassing, of course, and of course, as if they are in a collusion and a haste to fill the treasury by oppressing the people and taking from them, quite apart from the scheme to take our monies out of our mattress. You know, remember the mattress money talk? Where they say capitalizing, and we know now that the central bank governor was in collusion with the government. They haven't, of course, engaged in the greatest and the most, what I consider the historic act of profligacy, waste, whether it be for a Casabon painting, whether it be the rehabilitation of the Magnificent Seven, whether it be the mothballed but investing over 400 million in Train 1. Whether it be, of course, the Galleon Passage that remained there. I think they paid, what, 17 million for that one. A highway to nowhere, 400 million. And we can keep counting, of course, financed by a combination of borrowing, raiding the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, and depleting our reserve exponentially. That is what transpired. So Chong could talk from now until thy kingdom come. The fact of the matter is that those are the stark realities. And they could try to obfuscate, they could try to deflect, they could try to create, of course, storms in a teacup. But a teacup will always be a teacup where you and I could easily control. In other words, it's not a real storm, it's a fake storm. And so, of course, the CPEP issue is another storm in a teacup. That's what it is. But I want to also tell you that you ought not to be surprised because of the level of hypocrisy that is the PNM as an institution. And of course, an institution cannot function without people, and therefore the people themselves are consummate and unadulterated hypocrites. You see, it was Rowley who painstakingly, when he became Prime Minister, but had no qualms. When Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the UNC and the partnership was in office between 2010 and 2015, to tell the population, as he was in opposition at the time, that he will not cooperate with the government. And his job is to make it uncomfortable for the government. And that the protest that he was able, of course, to assemble, starting in the Woodford Square and ending up by the President's house, with the fake, we know now, with the lie, with the deception, with the treasonous conduct of saying about some pieces of paper that he called emails, and the contents of which suggested that what? A figment of his very pernicious, evil, wicked, and diabolical imagination. And we are seeing it manifested today as well. But I cannot go today as yet until, of course, I tell you and conclude that Rowley, whilst he was Prime Minister now, and the UNC rightfully, as indeed I will never stop the foolishness that the present opposition is engaged in. I will not stop the process. But in terms of the purpose, I have a problem. Let me repeat. Everybody has a right to protest. But whether the protest is valid, whether the protest is solid, is a different story. But Rowley was, of course, upset when the UNC in opposition, after he came into office in 2015, saying that they want to destabilize the government, and that they want, of course, to engage in going to court, etc. Well, I want to say quickly that this is what is happening today, and that is the level of hypocrisy I am talking about. So go ahead, you dunderhead, go ahead, you foolish people, go ahead, protest. But at the end of the day, the government remains for the next 5 years and beyond. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Lennox.
Pleasant good night to you as well. Yes.
Lennox.
Hey.
I couldn't resist it today. I couldn't resist. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you talking, and I'm getting irritated. You understand?
Yes.
Remembering what Rowley did to the partnership government.
Yes.
And like they want to have a repeat. But I want to tell Penelope Beckles, you see that little upstart that you have in Laventille? You better rein him in, because he's getting very disrespectful, and nobody's going to respect him. And anybody who vexes, I come after him. You can only come after me now, right? Lennox, you must learn to. You're not picking up your all the things that are sending for your man.
All right, sorry about that. I really have not checked.
I said a nice recording for you of him talking in the beat-em. And Lennox, he come very, very close again to cussing. Just now, you mark my word, he's going to let it out in Parliament. Mark my word. Because like you have no self-control. And coming to talk about war, you're coming to talk about, I don't know why they don't charge him for sedition. Charge him for something. You coming to war with this government?
But I think it's more of allowing the jackass to bray, or the jackasses, I should say. Yes, plural.
You see,
yeah. So that's all right. We are not going to be intimidated or in any way fazed by that.
Well,
that is what their intention is, to make somebody free them unmeritoriously because they have nothing to offer. They are just vacuous. Go ahead.
That is what they're trying to do, to intimidate us. But we will show them, we will ignore them like blue flies. Because the more a donkey bray is, the more he feels he's a lion. And that one feels he's a lion. I don't know who gave him all that sprongs. This little upstart, he making a fool of himself.
All the time.
He's making a fool.
And that's why I say let the jackasses bray and let the jackass bray, whether singular, plural, or otherwise. Yes.
But you see, Lennox, the kind of brain that they're doing is annoying, it's aggravating the soul, right? To know that they destroyed this country for 9.728 years. And they're coming now, Penny, have no shame to say that the government is quiet about crime. Where was Penny's voice when 22 babies were killed in the queue? When the 4 men died in the pipe? Right? Where was Penny's voice and Gatsby Dolly's voice talking about wickedness, spiritual wickedness and what sort of nonsense? When the whistleblower in Angostura, they fired the woman. And they didn't want to fire Rolf Balgobin, but they wanted to fire the whistleblower. And all they coming to talk about who wicked and vindictive. But I see they give us some award. I don't know where she get it. I wonder if it's stick fighting, roti making, or picking she duck that she get our award for.
Who is that? Who is that? Penelope
Penelope
Beckles?
Beckles.
All
Yeah.
right, okay. We look at that.
Because
We look at
Lennox,
that.
I have not, Lennox in the 9 years, I have not seen her do anything. She was deaf, dumb, and blind. She was afraid to talk, but now you have mouth. And yeah, she's saying, yeah, my father got a CPEP contract, that was 10 years ago. But the mere fact that he got the
And he
contract.
dead now. And he dead now. So
Yeah,
it
he
means
dead
that
now, yeah.
all the sins associated with it has been washed away.
It gone, yeah.
It's
But-
buffoonery to be so what I consider to be simplistic in an issue that says that it ought not to have happened because of your
Exactly.
position in
She
government.
tried to make light of it now because the father dead.
That's
but we
right.
will never forget when she was asked about it. She said God said to honor your mother and father, and she honor her father. But God didn't say to honor them with the taxpayers' money.
That is what she has by opening her mouth. I mean, why she was silent, I had no difficulty because it is a strategy. Something like Al-Rari, when of course they asked him if the children was his, that he remained silent. But she opened her
Yeah.
mouth and of course exposed her culpability. Yes, and therefore she is guilty of corruption, nepotism, cronyism. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then they want to point fingers at people. Look at all the wickedness they do to the people of this country. And all they have no shame, Lennox. They have no shame to stand up and point fingers. And now Tangletongue talking about Barry feel he's the Prime Minister. I didn't know where this, but Penelope want to be a Prime Minister too.
We call him Tangle Tongue. I was looking
Tangle-tongue, yeah.
I was looking for a term for that because his tongue moves faster than the
Yeah,
opportunity
tangle-tongue.
for the words to get out of his mouth. So
Yeah.
I like that term, Tangle Tongue. All right, I'll use that for the time being. Yes.
Tongue tangling up in the mouth to make a speech I talk about Bar. But I want to ask him, who voted for Zami Man to be the Prime Minister? Who voted for him? Nobody voted for him. But I also want to remind him, and Penelope Beckles want to be a Prime Minister too. But that and Goldfish you will never see.
Yeah,
Trust
but last
me.
night, Miss Santa Cruz, last night we did touch on that topic, and then I wanted to know how he came to that conclusion that Pararat wants to, or is the Prime Minister, according to him, the de facto Prime Minister, when of course in opposition they were taunting Pararat and therefore not suggesting one iota that he could ascend to the position of Prime Minister. How suddenly, just so by some kind of epiphany, just come out of the sky that he is the de facto Prime Minister. I just didn't see the logic, and therefore I say that he needs to go back to law school or primary school or something like
Yeah,
that.
you see, UE had no right to lower the standards for him. UE must be ashamed now. But Lennox, it's Penelope Beckles who said it in Parliament when she tell Barry that he want to be the Prime Minister, right? But she want to be one too. You see what aggravated all of them is how Barry is the chief whip.
Yeah, but if that is the case, if that is the case, then I would want to know what basis in opposition, when the UNC was in opposition, how they could see that, because there must be a basis for drawing that conclusion today, because they weren't saying that when the UNC was in opposition, but now in government, and that. My conclusion is this simple, that because he has the mandate to deal with CPEP, and he is doing so with a firm hand, and of course they cannot rattle his feathers, that they are making that assertion whilst at the same time attempting, of course, to intimidate the government as a whole. That's my conclusion.
Lennox,
But go ahead.
exactly, because he's speaking on behalf of the Prime Minister.
That's right.
And that is what aggravating them.
Yes.
That is what aggravating them. They find that he have too much of sprongs, too much of say.
And he's
they
taking
never
his
had
job
that.
seriously.
Yeah.
He's taking his job seriously. That's
right.
all. That's
And
what I gather.
Aggravating all of them.
Yes.
But I want to tell them, all you better pat all yourself down in a corner. Because all that
Mr.
war they're
Sakariva, hold
talking
on.
about.
Miss. All right, good. Go ahead,
Yes,
Miss.
all that war.
Santa Cruz.
All that war they're talking about, Lennox, you understand? Not coming to pass. They will quicker have war among themselves than they see war in this country. Lennox, let me tell you something
That's what
before
is
I leave.
happening. That's what is happening right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's speaking out of turn anytime, anyhow. But go ahead.
They are trying very hard to destabilize this government. But better than them could have. We saw Rowley try that in 20 with the email gate, right?
Yes, and wish me and Section 34. Yeah.
Yeah, and Section 34. And they coming now with their nonsense. But you know what? You see how Kamala not answering them? She well prepared for them.
Oh,
Lennox,
yes.
Thanks a lot and have a good night. Later.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let me go straight, of course, to Mr. Tagari. But before we do that, we have something to, of course, sustain or support to what we are saying. We don't say things just like that without, of course, proof. So we have it as well.
Today, we acknowledge that there are persons in Trinidad and Tobago. They were the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Today, they are largely the opposition of Trinidad and Tobago. They have identified the courts as a place to go to create as much mayhem and disturbance as possible in.
All right, people. So of course, that is just a teaser. So here it is. They are now in government. So Rowley is really speaking to his own people now, the PNM, that is trying to generate a mayhem in the country so as to destabilize the UNC coalition of interest government led by Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Very simple. That is why I talked about hypocrisy earlier on. But let's go to the lines before, of course, we play that clip in its entirety. Stay tuned because you will be satisfied that we have put things in perspective. Go ahead. Go ahead, yeah. Mr. Tagarigua.
Yeah, boy, good night.
Good night.
You know what I last election show Rowley and them?
Uh-huh.
That's stupid talk, but this is PNM country.
Yes.
That is them days done.
I want to tell you, go to the top of the class. I was hoping that somebody would have identified that specificity, that very specific notion. You see, they themselves have realized now that they have lost the illusion, the perception that Rowley and they push out there that the PNM is infallible as far as electoral prowess or electoral victory is concerned, and that they can be defeated and defeated badly, handsomely, humiliatingly, and so they can't take that. So all of the intensity and all of the anger and the irascibility is as a consequence of the fact that the population now know that the PNM is just an ordinary bunch of opportunistic political parasites who are really hustlers and try, of course, to project that image that somehow the PNM cannot be defeated. Well, Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the coalition of interest has destroyed that notion, and so the ordinary person out there is saying, well, how the hell, I thought the PNM couldn't be defeated. So they are trying to salvage something that is unsalvageable. Go ahead, my friend.
But that's okay, they just another party.
Yes, man. Go ahead, man. I like where you're going.
Yeah, and that's what's they're mad.
Yes.
But them going beyond mad, we know that.
Yeah. They are going to find themselves. You see, they don't mind getting locked up and so on. That's why I tell Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the relevant authorities to tread lightly. Don't give them the opportunity to say that they are victims unless, of course, the act is so egregious that requires, of course, the intervention by utilizing the law appropriately. That is all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I want to tell them something else. I want to tell Mikila Pandey and Larry Lala and all of them. Our country must have opposition, we know that. Well, this opposition, them done. They may have no chance to get them call back. So there's a vacancy for an opposition party. And if Mikila Pandey and Larry Lala and them had sense, they will campaign to be an opposition party and get in if they want. Because this opposition done.
Obviously, that makes a lot of sense as well, that notion. And of course, you never could tell, they talk about dark horse and...
A A dark horse might emerge.
Yeah, dark horse and unexpected and ambush and so on. You never could tell. You never could tell where you expect. You see, you know, there's also a biblical saying that the stone that the builder rejects become the cornerstone. All of those may well be unraveled in the next coming days, months, weeks, and years.
Yeah, because there's no vacancy in the parliament except the opposition.
Yeah, of course, there is no vacancy, and the opposition has generated, of course, the vacancy conditions because they clearly have lost their way. As you rightly said, is a collective of ranting and raving individuals who, of course, recognize that the population have found out their scheme, and there's so much you can do and no more. And that time has been exhausted. They have reached the pinnacle or the apex of that kind of illusion and attempt at brainwashing the people. But they know them for who they are. They are evil. They are wicked. They are diabolical. And when they get into office, even in circumstances where they are now saying that they love the CPEP workers, but they only love the CPEP workers to the extent that they want to protect the CPEP contractors. When the workers are being left out, the workers are realizing that as well. The workers are realizing that as well. They are only interested in that because, of course, all the revelations about who gets 7 million, who get 10 million, and then workers are saying, "What? That man that contractor gets 7 million, 10 million, and we were only getting, of course, chicken feed." And now, of course, they want us to be part and parcel of their charade to try, of course, to get back into government. Impossible as that is. No way we are going to stay out of the PNM as the 100,000 persons did on the 28th of August. Sorry, on the 28th of April. Go ahead.
The workers selling them flat.
Yeah.
I get you maybe behind $1 mark for $26 when the day comes.
Yeah.
In the freeway. And then you can have money all.
Yeah, and not only that, I am sure just as what Rowley and they have been doing to us, pretending to be poor, pretending that they are groveling, pretending that they are at the lowest rung of the economic ladder, when in fact they have lined their pockets, friends, family, those who they have selected as members of the party associated with them, and have given them, of course, the largest of the treasury of the country. Whilst, of course, the masses go hungry and, of course, in a state of total and abject poverty and need. Go ahead.
People can't stand to lose their money, you know. And if charges start to be laid, and then you lock up. Well, I don't know, really could go beyond mad.
Yeah. They have gone. They have lost any sense of credibility, any sense of in themselves reality, and the population is watching very attentively. And as the CPEP matter is resolved by the government, and you will see, of course, falling out, and they will try to hang on to the next dribble, which, of course, eventually its elasticity will give way.
I'm glad you see it like me.
Yeah. I had to commend you, man. Go to the top of the class on this occasion.
You know, this is no PNM country again. That talk done.
Yeah, that talk is old talk now. You see, they ain't even saying that. All they're trying to tell you now is that, you know, like the Mali say, we have been there before and we will get back. But I thought while they were there, they were saying that they cannot be moved. I thought that was the narrative at the time. And more than that, in the space of about 4 months, it can't be more than that, you had 2 new PNM. Stuart Young said that is a new page to turn. This leader now is saying is a next new page. So they turn in new pages by the month or what? Or by every 4 months? Yeah, you see that? I'm telling you, she has a new PNM. Stuart Young had a new PNM. All of which were, of course, were ephemeral, were temporary, and And in the space of 4 months, you have another new PNM.
another
And
new
watch
PNM.
me. When Rowley came in, he said it was a new PNM too. And when Manning came in, he said it was a new PNM. Well,
Yeah,
all of that has been dashed, has collapsed. They have imploded because nobody takes them seriously. It's always lies to deceive.
And let me say it's factual, Lennox.
Go ahead.
I ain't picking up for the bad of the nation. But not one of them in Rowley party could I ever be in Rowley Williams government. Not one of them. They could make it Williams government.
No. Of course not. Of course, no. None of them. Not even Manning could have been leader of the because nobody considered Manning before. It's just that he, like all of his successors, and of course, are talking here about Rowley and the Penelope Beckles. They were pure opportunistic political parasites. They saw a vacuum and they moved in. The leadership was decimated in the 1986 general elections when they had a territory tree, and therefore, if Desmond Carty had won a seat, or who again? Let me see the lesser of the mortals. Let's say John Donaldson had won a seat. They would have been the leaders of the PNM.
Yes.
Coming forward, not Manning. Manning was
Manning
never
always looking in the back, boy.
Manning was never a front line, or he was always a backbench and a
backbench,
parliamentary,
he never had much
or something like that. But so we know that the level of talent within the PNM, and we have been saying that during the course of the elections, and of course over the last 10 years of this PNM. When it was in office before the 28th of April, that of course the pool of talent. If you take a man like Hines to be National Security Minister, you must know you're raking the bottom of the barrel.
Yes, boy.
Yeah, you must know that. Yeah, you must know that.
Yeah.
So,
I lick down the people dog and ain't care less.
yeah.
I say he's not responsible for me.
Yeah, that I'm telling you, the PNM has run out of talent, and then of course this Marcel fella, and of course the Dolly and what's it called, Gonzalez, some people call him Marva, all kind of thing. The fact of the matter is that Rowley say he take him to be a minister of public utilities because he don't know nothing about WASA, but then he himself, when he opened him out, went further. He said that he didn't know that if pipe are whole, that of course the pressure will be relieved, and therefore the upper extreme where the water is supposed to reach along and within the pipeline, if it is going uphill, will not be. He didn't know that. So what you're doing with these kind of people around you? So it's obvious that it was about a collective of yes men who never before would have gotten such an opportunity, and even today they don't deserve their parliamentary salary. None of them.
A total backside, boy.
Yeah. None of them. It's a shambolic situation, and it's a bunch of charlatans, really, a set of quacks.
Even your own yard, when a pipe busts and you upstairs, you find water.
Yeah, you will observe that ordinarily. You're telling me that he lived like he was living, or up to that point I was living by a river where of course water would have run downstream all the time, and he didn't have no pipe. He was dipping from a river. He's Scotland or what?
But that's your boy, you know.
Yeah. Swordfish face parliamentary representative. Yes, indeed.
But I don't just say you get him out.
Yeah, man. All right.
We will talk.
Yes. All right. Yeah, man. Yes, indeed. So people, of course, we'll continue with the video, and of course, very, very interesting. It appears that that it is by sheer serendipity that I have this audio and video to play for you based on what Ms. Santa Cruz just, of course, disclosed to us. Yes, indeed.
And today, we acknowledge that there are persons in Trinidad and Tobago. They were the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Today, they are largely the opposition of Trinidad and Tobago. They have identified the courts as a place to go to create as much mayhem and disturbance as possible in Trinidad and Tobago, in creating this climate of disturbance that it will advance their political prospect. And I say that without apologies to any.
This is a nice thing that that is wicked Prime Minister, and how wicked de facto Prime Minister called Barry Padarat.
Yes, people, of course, that's the joke that was coming. And of course, you sense the hypocrisy. Because, of course, whilst he was, of course, all morally and ethically and, of course, taking the moral high ground at that point in time, only because he was Prime Minister, but he never referred to the fact that he introduced these fake pieces of paper called emails, and, of course, making a storm in a teacup in the case of course, Section 34, and indeed that of the Rishmi affair. But let's go straight to the line. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello, good night.
Good night to you, my friend. Yes.
San Fernando.
Yeah, go ahead.
I listened to your conversation there on what the past WASA minister.
Yes, Gonzalez, yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
If you you know, it's strange enough, even your house. If a pipe leaking or it bursts or anything, and it bursts really badly, and you have a pump. Let's say you have a pump in your house. You know, the pump won't pump the water. What will happen is that it will. Yeah,
the water will disappear into the surrounding, just like a blood vessel. If it is severe, if it is cut, the blood will run into the viscera or wherever the surrounding will go into the surrounding tissues and create some havoc. But go ahead.
Yeah, real havoc your pump will create on the lines.
Yes.
So, you know, it's real stupidness that these people are on. So my next point too is I want to touch on the kids Scotland issue with the bike. Right? The bicycle, because would he ride if, let's say, his office is in Port of Spain and he lives in Cuba? Would he ride a bike from Cuba to Port of Spain to get to work?
No.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
So would he ride a bike from let me say Cuba or wherever to Port of Spain every day to get to his work? Similarly too, right? Kamla and they built the university from in Dede down here, and it's going up in grass. They have it. It's going up in grass.
Right.
But what I'm saying is too, right? The university was also built down here in Dede to get away from the fact that students will have to travel way up to Port of Spain to get to UE.
Right.
In most instances, if even so they don't travel, they will have to keep paying a rent somewhere before they could get to the university.
Yeah.
So these people are rather, you know, I don't know what to say again. They're going through.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, with respect to that, when the idea of a university for that part of the country came up, and it came up, of course, obviously, under a UNC exercise. Let me put it that way. No, I want to tell you because it came up during the 2010 general elections, when of course the notion of a university to be constructed for the South people. Because of the same reason that you just mentioned, the proximity, to eliminate the challenge of transportation, and of course all of the other logistical matters. But I want to focus really on Rowley's position. Rowley was saying, because it was always supposed to be a University of the West Indies connected extension, let me put it that way, starting with law. Yeah. But listen, Rowley Indigo Martin was saying that he was opposed to, even if you are having a university for that reason, it should be under the University of Trinidad and Tobago. I remember that very distinctly.
Yes.
he was stridently opposed to it becoming a center administered by the University of the West Indies, because he's saying that Kamala and they were unpatriotic because the University of Trinidad and Tobago would have been, of course, our university, and to me, it made sense. To me, it made sense. Why not? But of course, the University of Trinidad and Tobago wasn't offering, of course, law and that kind of thing. They were more technically oriented, a kind of vocational skill, what we would call vocational skill type university. But just now, let me finish. The fact of the matter is that here it is. He said that it ought to have been, he had no problem, but it ought to be under the Trinidad and Tobago, University of Trinidad and Tobago. But you know, when he got into office, he give it to them. Not only that, he give the hospital, the children's hospital and all, to the University of the West Indies. So this man is totally conflict within, outside, just as how he's ugly both inside and outside. Go ahead now. Go ahead, my friend.
But you see, I think that the PNM itself over the years have really made a mess of the economy every time they have office.
Yeah.
For instance, like in 1986, because somebody, I had an argument with somebody a couple of months ago, and the person was telling me that Texaco itself left Trinidad because Texaco wasn't making money, and that was not so. That was Texaco itself left Trinidad because they smelled the rat, and they knew what was going to come for the PNM. So the PNM they knew that the PNM was going to lose the election. That is the reason why they left, because they smelled the rat, because a new administration taking office they weren't too sure how they would be treated in terms of, all the revenues collected and whatnot. So they left Trinidad and gave George Chambers the refinery. George Chambers eventually buy it over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
but
yes.
Trinidad and Tobago was in an economical mess. So, and it took almost three to 4 years to recover under the NAR. So, the story now comes right back where in 2025 we still in a mess again.
The legacy of that, what I consider to be rambunctious, a very greedy, very rapacious quest for personal, not just power, but personal material possession, feeding off the state resources or coffers parasitically, looms large. And of course it was poignant during the last 9 years or so of the last administration under Rowley, and then of course just 2 months or so under this fellow called Stuart Young. And as I say, I cannot help because it's coming even more ridiculous and much more ludicrous that of course every one of them have a new vision. A new vision. So the greatest, of course, is between that 4 months of Young having a new vision to try to separate himself from Rowley, and now Penny is trying to separate herself from both Rowley and Stuart Young in just about 4 months' time. I thought it would be a continuation, but not a separate. That is because they believe that somehow, because in the past they were able to do that and get away with it and was back into government. They believe that could work this time. I think that they have miscalculated and underestimate once again the population of Trinidad and Tobago and our collective and individual intelligence. Go ahead.
One last point before I go.
Go ahead.
I was watching just about watching a clip here with even with the URP. The URP also is in problems, because
well, that's a festering sore that has to be addressed, because they must know that they are political appointees, and I think that the UNC would have had a better and more easy, relationship there, because I think those persons recognize that, and they either would have gone there. They might be the lingering ones, the malingering ones, but by and large, I think they have demitted office, and that the person who is put there to manage the affairs. I have not yet contacted him, but of necessity, I will have to, because, of course, in these parts, URP is, of course, a major provider of food on the table, even though, of course, it is for a very short period, and somehow they give it more credence, more credit than it deserves. But we will examine that as we move along, because I want people to understand they really don't depend on URP, nor do they depend on CPEP. In the 12 months that a year has, and we are going to prove that in due course.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay. Later.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. So very, very high level, let's say, conversation. And of course, that is the kind of conversations we must be engaging, because we have to be pragmatic, we have to be real, and we have to, of course, examine the issues for what they are. Let's get back, of course, to this situation, which, of course, is saturated with hypocrisy. Here it is, Rowley said one thing when he was in government, and something totally different when he was in opposition, saying he wouldn't give the then government between 2010 and 2015 a ghost of a chance. And when he gets in now, he begging for a chance. And now we have a situation where the scenario has been reversed. But in this case, of course, the PNM is attempting not to give the UNC a ghost of a chance. But of course, because we know them for who they are, and we have been able to learn from experience and history and precedent, we know that they are playing the fool. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hey, Lennox.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a good day.
Loud and clear, my friend.
I just get a call from as far as Gabani.
Uh-huh.
And somebody asking me if police patrol is a thing at the pass. Actually, I don't know. But you know where I is? Actually, just like all you, I don't see no police patrol in the night.
Well, I mean, we have a different experience from here. I can tell you there's a plethora. Well, if you are not seeing any, it means therefore these parts, like, they take all, because it's regular patrols in the night here on George Street, Nelson Street, and I'm sure that it would have extended to places like St. Paul Street, St. Joseph Road, etc. So there's quite a lot. 2 cars sometimes in quick frequency, one behind the other, or they sometimes, if the street is designated from south to north, they sometimes do the opposite. Yeah, in terms of the patrol, they move from north to south on the street. And George Street, of course, is a south to north street, but sometimes they take from the north and come down south. All that is part of the patrol. So we have been, I should say experiencing intensive, of course, patrols. So I don't know what is happening on your side or elsewhere in the country.
I tell you what happened on my side.
Yeah.
I just hear a call from as far as Germany.
Okay.
So I want to know if there is a new strategy by Roger Alexander. We want a police patrol on here too.
Yeah, well, I suppose the budgetary consultation, which I'm going to speak of a little later, I still feel it's just about, 18 minutes past? I hope it's 18 minutes I see in there, and not 20 minutes past 9, because, we're finishing at 9:30. But go ahead.
That's why I call you. Look about new police vehicle we get.
Yes.
You only want one vehicle to drive around any day, flashing the lights.
Yeah.
That is all. We ain't seeing nothing like that.
Nothing like that. All right. Well, of course, I think they do listen to the corridor. They do listen, of course, to the ground report, and I would advise that you take the matter there as well to the ground report, and I'm sure that they will take note. Yeah.
But I hope Alexander listening,
Yeah.
I hope he listens.
They have no choice but to listen. Is the best program in the night anywhere in the world.
And this is the best program to call to.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I hear you.
Why calling a report when you want it?
I hear you, my friend. I hear
I
you.
can't get on. I mean, and he ready start to talk all kind of. But I won't call out the word.
Well, it is about, of course, numbers. There are people who like kicks, who prefer a mix of hilariousness as well as seriousness and so on. But of course, here you get it strictly serious, because we have to look at policies and programs. We have to know where the money is coming from. We have to know what is our capacity to generate new wealth and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Let me tell you why you call the wrong report. And they have a habit to say that if the present government start to get on the PNM, it's the same way we go talk about them. The PNM, Kamala them never indicate that they will ever be like the PNM. That is stupidness on the party be listed.
Well, I agree there are different ways to say the same thing,
yes,
without, of course, sounding as giving ideas to the opposition, or indeed the government in any negative way. So I want, from that perspective, I would say that if it's me, I would have said it differently.
I know that.
Yes.
He's talking about the report bigger than the government.
Yeah.
You
All right. So so because there are different ways to say things like that. You could say, for example, people may well make mistakes, and if they do make mistakes, one expect that the administration, as they did before, take appropriate action. We saw, of course, a sitting Attorney General, the great legal luminary, Anand Ramlogan, was fired, and of course he likes to call himself the most successful commissioner of police. I'm talking about Gary Griffith, was also fired from by Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and I think this fellow from Kumoto, he will have never forgive Kamala for firing him, because of course outside of Zen, that nightclub Zen, he used a patrol vehicle, or the vehicle that he was driving, being of course a minister in the Ministry of National Security, and he put on the strobe lights without authorization, because he had no police, and she fired him for that. And of course we had Glenn Ramadan Singh, a very popular minister, and just touching the insignia of the or the identification pin on an air hostess, and he was fired as well.
But let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you, because I know you here. I never hear Badis Maharaj, Albert Gomes, Bazio Pandey, Kamala, they never indicate that they will ever be like the PNM. Never.
Yeah. Well, in fact, they have been indicating the opposite.
That's right.
Yeah, but the PNM will, of course, superficially and what I consider to be very ghost-like or attenuously say that they are not like the UNC, but attempting, of course, in the process to make us believe that they are superior, when in fact they are grossly ineffective, they are grossly inferior, and that they continue, of course, to deteriorate exponentially.
You must read in Andy Lennox.
No, I can't do that. That is his style. I will leave him. But of course, the population, when people like myself begin to talk, because I have a say on the program as well, then of course they would be able to discern when they go and lie down. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how it is. Yeah, that is his style. I can't interfere. If I only interfere with that, it means I have to go central control and drive every morning to go there in order to carry the program, because I will ignite animosity, and I don't want that.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah, okay then, yes.
All right, boy, now.
Thank you very much, yes, ma'am. Well, people, of course, let's finally look at that because, of course, we were out of time. I had some other things that I wanted to talk about. Of course, the response of EBC, and then, of course, to tell you, but I'll tell you about our budget consultation process, how we intend to do it. Yes, there is this collective, this cooperative exercise at the Queen's Park Savannah on the 20th. But the love will do it different. And I'll tell you why after this. Let's go straight to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and to all your listeners on the World Wide Web. Share the life and all in sundries.
Yes, ma'am.
So we need the 40,000. We need to double up. So if you have 5 cents, 3.25 cents, we take in that and all too.
Yes, ma'am.
So pass and drop it for Uncle Lennox and tell him love and the work he's doing is good. So Uncle Lennox, I want to ask you something as your, and use your, and crave your indulgence as your low fertility and instincts. Now, if there is no wrongdoing of having friends, family, party organizers, party people from the PNM party, and councillors and ex-councillors get in contract, and there is nothing on the bylaws that say they cannot be used like that, right?
Yeah.
Why does Larry Lala, Faris Harari, and my good friends, Keith Scotland, right? And the new little fella on the block who feel that he have a voice, why they don't go file a matter in the court, the land of the court in Trinidad and Tobago, the judiciary, go to them and tell them that Barry Baradat, according to the name clear, right, that he is doing public mischief in public office. And all I want to get the PNC off, that is one I want to get from his behavior, boy. Go now, a challenge earlier. And anyone out there, all the best all is, bring the case now, right? Because I'm fed up here, all because all they're talking about, all they love people. All they love to suffer people by. East Port of Spain, improvement. All they move people, shove them out. All they give $50 million. And all they give the people a cent. All they take it back because they're squatting. All they come and all they disrupt people from in Lavantil. Just 2 months ago, all they was in Lavantil as a government. What do I want to say? Because Rowley was there, there's an era. Because Chota was acting, it was an era. And now, all in opposition is the next era. Who make the mischief? Who declared the people? Kid Scotland. Here we're going on, boss. You love the people so much. Where's the upliftment? Where is the economic spin-off to the people? Or the contractors getting the money, sending in the papers every month, collecting their money, and the workers on them. Where the PPE? Where is the proper, what medical plan all they had for them? What all they had given them for, I know what coming is August time, school books, food, and transportation costs to pay. But here what's going on? All they had all our problems. At least the UNC means test when they reach out by social welfare, and the Ministry of the Social Development, all they had, all they forget, boy. All they had means test for people to get in a book grant and in the, school uniform money, boy. All they love people. Everything was means test. And all they never care about the supporters. All they only love them and black when all they in trouble. The people shake off the yoke. They shake off the yoke. And Karim, if you want the election call, tell Penelope to tell it 13 hours earlier, send in all the resignation, right? And to the president, and make the seat after 90 days vacant, and although we get election, and then we go back to the polls, no problem. But you see, all the songs like Rambali, and all the songs like Pare, and Ita Haynes, right? And Rai Ragbe, because call election. You see, they talk too much of that, and all the teach them what to say. But anyway, we party, I stand by my political leader, the Honorable Ms. Kamla Prasad Sessa, for the leader. And here we're going on. We will have an internal election, and all they will see how it is be. Because the infighting, we make sure that the people who have other narrative, we get rid of them. And here we're going on, Karen. Is it true that Stuart Young still has supporters who want to undermine and backstab Penelope for the leadership? Answer that question now, boy. Because there is millions, hundreds of millions, and then you're seeing all they are accounting for it, boy. Account for it, get the report, get the financial report, and then and present it to the public. Uncle Lennox does invite anybody to walk in that building and come on the show from 8:30 in the night and talk. You have a forum. It has always say forum. And if it's not forum, it have an avenue to vent by. And if not, Andy Williams and Lennox Smith and Mikey K have a program 6 o'clock in the morning by the ground report. Or they could come on it and show the report. Yeah, we want to see the report, the audited finances for the last 10 years. All on a sudden building burned down, business burned up, and everything mashed up. Under all their watch. And all of the twisted by? No, enough is enough. And here what's going on. The beaten people and the CPEP people know exactly what they don't care for them. That is why they went in a party, didn't have nothing, didn't have government, didn't have a handout to give them, right? And I want to ask him, is it Miss Jolie John? You know that name? And you know Dr. Rudal Munilal? Is that name is a hallmark and an integral part of the people in Beaton? I will stop there because if I tell you too much, all you'll forget and will understand what I'm talking about. Have a pleasant good night, Uncle Lennox.
Yes, man. Once again, of course, but I take note of the suggestion that if you want early elections, then yes, I agree with that all 13 of them should resign and trigger by election. Don't wait until the fourth year. In the fourth year, you even if you resign, you wouldn't be able to have a by-election. So if you don't want election so bad, all they resign and trigger a by-election, no big thing. But I can tell you, that and a pink donkey all they would not see, and that is to say, the UNC calling an election. Because they have 5 years to, of course, rectify that which was decimated, that which was destroyed, that which was abused, or put another way, dysfunctional because of the abuse. And we are determined to, and I say we because I'm part of the coalition of interests, my own party, Love, and we are determined to rectify. In the fullness of time, you will see. But of course, I'm glad that the caller mentioned, of course, CPEP as well, because it will give me an opportunity, of course, to go beyond what Padarat and even Saddam Hussein would have said, because I did my own research. I said I did my own research, and the name that was being bandied about are talking about, of course, the Marichaud company, Jennifer Marichaud. Jennifer Marichaud, PNM activist. So not only the evidence coming out shows that CPEP, as we have been saying, if it's a political appointed position as far as the contractors are concerned. Let me repeat, as far as the contractors are concerned, what is the big deal? Just get out and let the present administration take charge so that the workers can, of course, be smoothly incorporated and get back to where they were prior to the interruption. And the interruption is not an interruption that will prevent them from putting food on the table or buying books, no. But it is an interruption for the contractors who clearly could afford to buy a whole library or a whole bookstore of books based on the fact that they were there longer than they ought to have, and they did not wean off the program as they were supposed to do. And that could have only happened because of political connection and consideration. Let us not waste time. But I want, of course, to deal with the Marichaud Maintenance, that company that hailed from South, and I think it would have been out of the constituency of San Fernando West. You see, history, just as truth, is a stubborn thing. History and truth is a stubborn thing, you know. And so, the Marichaud Maintenance Company that received a CPEP contract under Patrick Manning, so you see how far I went, or have gone, under Patrick Manning, and that will be, of course, before the 2010 general elections. Under Patrick Manning, and listen to what transpired when the UNC took charge in 2010. I read a short paragraph, one paragraph from an article in the Guardian. I'm going to put it together in perspective. Tomorrow morning you hear more about it on the ground report. But it says, in May 2021, so 2021, the UNC came into office in 2021. As reported by the Trinidad Guardian, 60 CPEP workers from Marichaud Maintenance, a company that got its contract under Manning, the previous PNM administration, were served with termination letters after the People's Partnership government came into power. Obviously. Because there's a reason why I am talking that kind of talk. In an interview then, Jennifer Marichaud, who is the owner, the PNM activist, claimed that she was not interested in another CPEP contract. So she didn't want any CPEP contract, but rather in her workers being placed on the breadline. So the same platitudinous and the same falsified sensitivity and concern back then she showed for the workers. You see, they use the workers as pawn. So she ain't concerned about her contract. She concerned about the workers. Well, is it now deja vu? Is it today deja vu? Where the same Marichaud was back on the road under Rowley between 2015 and 2025, or the 28th of April 2025. The same Marichaud company. But today, this group of opposition, now the government want, of course, to move out these political appointed contractors under CPEP. But the present stupidity not checking and recognizing and to reference history, are now saying that these contractors, including Marichaud, which of course recently, the Minister of Legal Affairs are talking about Saddam Hussein had to mention the same Marisho company. Same Marisho. But Penelope Beckles and them rooting and saying how the present government wicked and that they shouldn't do them that, and try to embroil the workers and them as Marisho did back in 2011 when the UNC was in office and decided to, of course, discontinue their CPEP contract. Same pattern of behavior. Same pattern of behavior. And how they get back on after the UNC was questionably defeated in 2015. All of those are questions. So what it says to me and you is that these contractors are politically appointed, as we have been saying. And what Short Young, Beckles, this fella Marcel, and of course Gonzalez are trying to generate some kind of bleeding heart scenario for the workers. And then we are now learning that these contractors got in the millions that they ought not to have gotten, because it was supposed to be a pilot, or put another way, a nurturing ground for these contractors to wean off eventually after 3 years and move on. But instead they stayed on for 3 years, 6 years, and now we're talking about just before the election up to 2029. That is despicable. That is underhanded. That is criminal. That is deliberate. And therefore, there should be no relenting and no sympathy for those contractors, because they were politically appointed. Marisho, they had no right to protest in 2011. Oh, you don't want the contract, but you have a bleeding heart for the workers. Well, it's the same thing today. It's just that this group of P&M, what I consider to be has-beens, these P&M dunderheads, these P&M intellectually depraved and lack of course, knowledge, ignorant, pretending to be, of course, concerned about the workers, when in fact it's the contractors under their own political survival in the matrix. Political survival in the matrix, trying to preempt blue lights and silver bracelets. That is what this is all about. Because it happened already. Marisho was a contractor hired by Manning. Marisho, another contractor hired by Rowley. And under the UNC, they were dismissed. So you're saying, so it's clear that if they were dismissed by the UNC in 2010 to 2015, it means that they would have been replaced by, of course, persons who would meet the criteria that was set by the UNC. And if they came back on after the questionable departure of the UNC in 2015 and income Rowley, and they came back, it's clear that because of their political connection, they were able, of course, to come back on. And now that they have to go, they're crying foul. They're crying foul. Well, I say you, people don't like to eat foul bottom. But I suggest to you, you go and eat some of that and rest in a corner. All of you. Stupid. And you will lose. All you're doing is delaying the process, and those poor people who are suffering in the process may well be a victim of that. But the Ministry of the people and social development will come to the rescue in the appropriate time. And we here will be part and parcel on George Street of that process. We have a duty and responsibility. So let's hear the totality of that video before we make our departure. It's already, of course, what? 9:42. And I said that we would finish at 9:30.
And today, we acknowledge that there are persons in Trinidad and Tobago. They were the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Today, they are largely the opposition of Trinidad and Tobago. They have identified the courts as a place to go to create as much mayhem and disturbance as possible in Trinidad and Tobago, in creating this climate of disturbance that it will advance their political prospect. And I say that without apologies to any.
This is a nice thing that is wicked Prime Minister, and how wicked de facto Prime Minister called Barry Padarat, because he's the real Prime Minister, make no doubt about it. Barry Padarat is the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. But I want to tell him that this country didn't give him a mandate. And if the political leader of the UNC and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago on paper decides that she wants to give it up, we tell her, call an election now. Because we're ready and we're ready this time. I tell them, call it on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Saturday, any day to call it. It's licks with it. When UNC win, everybody wins.
PNM take over the CPEP program with PNM contractors. The People's National Movement, why didn't we structure the work? Why didn't structure the work in a way where, you know, the workers and them would have been safe and secure, and what happened now could have never happened? You know, but PNM did nothing. They did nothing, and the contractor is the man running away with all the money, you know. His salary big. His salary is about $22,000 a month.
Don't fight everything you don't like. Don't live bitter over the people that did you wrong, the door that closed, the company that pushed you out. May not have been fair. Yes, it was painful, but God wouldn't have allowed it if it was going to stop your purpose. There are things that we're not going to understand all along the way. You have to trust that God knows what He's doing, that He's working out His plan for your life. His plan is bigger. His plan is greater. There are levels you can't reach without going through things that are unfair. That's all leading you to a super bloom, to greatness, to promotion, to influence, things better than you've imagined.
Don't waste your time.
And I intend, as head of the executive, to defend the government and the people of Trinidad and Tobago from such political excursions. The opposition will not run this country. The rule that we operate under is the rule of the majority, and that majority creates the executive, and it's the authority of the executive to observe the law. In fact, their position is, since they can't win matters in the court to overturn the elections, that they will make the country ungovernable. And this is their approach.
As if we just walk in. Yes, yes. Stop us from walking. Put away the placards and we just follow we lead. Walking one behind the other. They can't stop me. One behind the other. One Let's walk. We must walk. You can't stop you from walking. Can't stop you from walking. Can't stop us. No.
And coming now in the opposition, using their free time to use the court to try to stymie this cabinet. It ain't gonna happen. These are all contrived arguments to create mischief and create mayhem, because they are on a pathway to make the country ungovernable.
Well, people, I think that is so much descriptive, if there is a description that could ever be for deja vu. Because of course, clearly, Rowley talking as the present government now, that the PNM now in opposition is on a pathway to generating havoc. So his admonition and his concern now, I think they should take heed. Penalty, Beckles and they, because the thing has turned around. And they are now in opposition, and now they try to make the country ungovernable, as Rowley did in opposition. But suddenly when he's in government, he wants everything honky-dory. Now they are in opposition, they wanting to be nice for them. That is hypocrisy, and that level of self-righteous indignation must not only be noted, must be, of course, told vehemently, viciously, poignantly, and conspicuously. Let's say it again, so you have an appreciation. I know for some of you, you might be a bit puzzled. Well, I'm just making the point, and to demonstrate the level of hypocrisy of these people. They want to have the cake and eat it. They want to be in government and fire everybody that is UNC. And when UNC comes into government, they want the PNM people to stay. That's the story. That is the moral of the story. Let's say them again.
And today, we acknowledge that there are persons in Trinidad and Tobago. They were the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Today, they are largely the opposition of Trinidad and Tobago. They have identified the courts as a place to go to create as much mayhem and disturbance as possible in Trinidad and Tobago, in creating this climate of disturbance that it will advance their political prospects.
All you have to say, the PNM is doing that at this point in time.
They said a nice thing that is wicked Prime Minister and how wicked de facto Prime Minister called Barry Padarat, because he's the real Prime Minister, make no doubt about it. Barry Padarat is the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. But I want to tell him that this country didn't give him a mandate. And if the political leader of the UNC and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago on paper decides that she wants to give it up, we tell her, call an election now. Because we're ready and we're ready this time. I tell them, call it on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Saturday, any day to call it. It's licks with it. When UNC win, everybody wins.
PNM take over the CPEP program with PNM contractors. The People's National Movement, why didn't we structure the work? Why didn't structure the work in a way where, you know, the workers and them would have been safe and secure, and what happened now could have never happened. You know, but PNM did nothing. They did nothing, and the contractor is the man running away with all the money, you know. His salary big. His salary is about $22,000 a month.
Don't fight everything you don't like. Don't live bitter over the people that did you wrong, the door that closed, the company that pushed you out. May not have been fair. Yes, it was painful, but God wouldn't have allowed it if it was going to stop your purpose. There are things that we're not going to understand all along the way. You have to trust that God knows what He's doing, that He's working out His plan for your life. His plan is bigger. His plan is greater. There are levels you can't reach without going through a dry. Things that are unfair. That's all leading you to a super bloom, to greatness, to promotion, to influence, things better than you've imagined.
Don't waste your time.
And I intend, as head of the executive, to defend the government and the people of Trinidad and Tobago from such political excursions. The opposition will not run this country. The rules that we operate under is the rule of the majority, and that majority creates the executive, and it's the authority of the executive to observe the law. In fact, their position is, since they can't win matters in the court to overturn the elections, that they will make the country ungovernable. And this is their approach.
Yes, we only talk for the government.
Just walk in. Nobody can stop us from walking. Put away the placards and we just follow we need. Walking one.
Look them trying to overturn, trying to make the country ungovernable. Look them. Swimming in their own mess, in their own filth.
Must walk. We must walk. You can't stop you from walking.
Can't stop you from walking. Can't stop us.
No.
And coming now in the opposition, using their free time to use the court to try to stymie this cabinet. It ain't gonna happen. These are all contrived arguments to create mischief and create mayhem, because they are on a pathway to make the country ungovernable.
Yes, indeed, people. Yes, indeed. But oh, how the mighty has fallen. Let's take this final one, and then of course we will make our departure. Yes. Oh, how the mighty has fallen, man.
Let me make it plain. It have plenty hurting. And there's more hurting in Tobago. I mean, some Trinidadians mightn't be too happy to hear me say that. And after breaking a mold where Mr. Mackenzie was the lone person for many years, and we brought ourselves to where we were, and then we take a dive, it had to be painful.
Let's start it over.
This assignment. Let me make it plain. It had plenty hurting. And
oh, how the mighty has fallen.
Tobago. I mean, some Trinidadians mightn't be too happy to hear me say that.
Look at Shan from
and after
Ojo.
breaking a
Shame.
mold where Mr. Mackenzie
She walking
was
out of the meeting. She walk out of the meeting. Can't take it. The woman who say, of course, will be like a zombie in the face. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor. All right. Yeah. Call me after the program.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. The woman who say, of course, she will be like a zombie from Lake Oto. She walking out of the meeting now. Walking out of the meeting. You do evil and want good to follow you, evil will follow you. That is the rule. You did nonsense to the people of Tobago. They throw you out. What you vexed about? Who the hell is you? Let's say it again. And of course, Rebecca's trying to give some consolation. She don't want to hear that she walk out of the meeting.
Let me make it plain. It had plenty hurting. And there's more hurting in Tobago. I mean, some Trinidadians mightn't be too happy to hear me say that. And after breaking a mold where Mr. Mackenzie was the lone person for many years, and we brought ourselves to where we were, and then we take a dive, it had to be painful.
Let's pause and take this call. I know it is interesting. A pleasant good night, but we have to go. A pleasant good night.
I know this is your last call, partner. Don't worry.
Yes.
That's it for your period, Rowley. That's when them was in government. That's when them was in government.
Yeah. When there was a government, he was saying that the opposition is trying to make them uncomfortable. Yeah. Now that they are in opposition, they're trying to make the UNC government uncomfortable. But I played it so that they will heed what the former boss was saying. But it is all about hypocrisy with them.
They're able, by Lennox.
Of course they're able.
They're able to throw down this government. I mean, you know that, I know that.
Yeah, yes, of course. And Rowley miscalculated the power of the UNC, forced them, of course, to call early elections on the 28th of April.
One move he make, that was a brilliant move, eh? You see when he called that election result till early o'clock?
Yeah.
I telling you, Lennox. And up to that time, no more result didn't come in from the government and all these places, you know.
Yeah. Well, of course, tomorrow night I will talk about it. I have the EBC results, not what I asked them for. I asked for a copy of the original coming from the respective polling stations, the tally of the results, a copy. I say I'm willing to pay for it. They give me a digital copy instead. Look at here. They give me a digital copy instead. I don't want this.
Now you want that?
I want the original EBC, and I will be taking steps to get a copy of the original, telling me that, and here what I say here, with respect to your request for copies of the tally sheets used in the polling stations, because I say that, of the aforementioned electoral district. Please note the Election and Boundaries Commission is not permitted to allow access to the tally sheets under the Representation of the People's Act, and they give some kind of cock and bull story. I'm not asking for access. I am asking for a copy. A copy. And I am entitled so. And if they get me vexed, I will ask the candidate to sign the next one when I am insisting, because that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send back a letter stating from the candidate, EBC, we want copies of the handwritten, what took place in the polling station, and the tally of all 47 PDs, polling divisions, every single one. We want all 47, not this cock and bull story. How you mean you can't give it because of some section of the law, and the law doesn't say that at all. So we will bring in the ombudsman, we will bring in judicial review, and give us a copy of that. And from the statement here, don't tell me that you lost it now, you know. Because the fact that you could say in this that you don't give access, it means that you have it, but you're not giving access. That is what you're saying. Yeah, that's right. So all your asses are grasses, ultimately. We have to get to the bottom of this. Give us a sense of what really transpired on the 28th of April. That is what we want.
Right. If you could pull up a clip, that same night, a reporter asked Cho if he win his seat, and the way that man said, yes, I want my seat. He know he blasted well lying.
That's right. And I am of the view that the PNM was prepared to lose the election than to lose a Laventil seat, because this is in fact, and the concern and the request is connected to Laventil East movement that got over 4,000 and performed better than any other in the Western Peninsula as far as the election is concerned. Yeah?
But if you could pull up that clip that night when they asked Cho if he win his seat, and he said yes, he wasn't convinced at all.
I'll check it out.
You must check it out. He wasn't convinced.
Well, it turned out that it was 2,000 the opposition got. So, but the closest in terms of competitiveness is Laventil East movement, the seat that our candidate contested, under, of course, the symbol of the UNC.
You want my opinion, Lennox?
Yes.
I feel none of them will know seat on the UNC.
I would want to reach that far. I would love to reach that far, but this is the only evidence
that you have. You judge it for
that we could pursue.
Yeah.
That generates a closure of the gap and the possibility that there is more in the mortar than the pestle.
Well, yeah, but Lennox about 100,000 million supporters using them.
That's right.
In the East-West corridor here all about.
That's right.
What makes you go Martin and think different? The people are stupid.
That's right.
It's true they PNM, but they ain't stupid.
I'm not seeking to reverse the thing, but I want to make sure that the people know what transpired. That's the important thing here. And then let the chips fall where they may afterwards.
Alexander wanted to challenge them.
That's right.
You understand?
What the hell you tell me about you don't give access? I be asking for access, asking for a copy of everyone. So we can do our own calculations.
You take all them old people down in Digo, and here they want to take away their pension and all this kind of thing and their property. You think they're going to vote for them? I have a doubt about that boy Lennox.
Right, we will look at that. But as I said, this is the closest, and we will pursue it. All right then, thanks. Yes.
The amount of votes you getting.
Yeah. Okay.
Something wrong. That's why we only play a shot.
That's right. Exactly. We were very, very, very concerned. All right.
All right. You go talk.
Yes, we'll talk. All right, people. Let's finish off this how the mighty and the haughty has fallen. Shanfa Kojo can't talk. She's still stunned and spellbound. She can't stay in a meeting. Where you go for in the first place? You know it's humiliation, right, wrong. You can't even walk in Tobago. Both of them.
It's assignment. This is a different assignment.
But they're so stupid. They forget that.
My colleagues who did not walk with the suitcase have to run back down to Crown Point. Please take my suitcase out of the car.
They forget the suitcase and all in the airport and go to the meeting.
I have to tell them I know about this thing.
Buffoonery we have.
So we committed to working together.
Opposition. Shanfa Gocho, she could only walk in silence, like if she in a Catholic church. They're so stupefied, as I say, they went in Tobago and forget the suitcase in the airport, and in the middle of the meeting, they had to run and get. They're so confused and in such a shambolic state of affairs. Look them. And listen to
we are going to be in this place for the next 5 years at least, and in your face for the next 5 years at least, like a zombie from Lekoto.
Yeah, right.
Lekoto.
Let me make it plain. It has plenty hurting. And there's more hurting in Tobago. I mean, some Trinidadians mightn't be too happy to hear me say that. And after breaking a mold, where Mr. Mackenzie was the lone person for many years, and we brought ourselves to where we were, and then we take a dive. It had to be painful.
Because we are going to be in this place for the next 5 years at least, and in your face for the next 5 years at least, like a zombie from Lekoto. Lekoto.
Yes, people, of course, we have come to the end of the program. Thank you very much, of course, for staying with us. And I want to tell you, of course, that there is more and more and more. Yes, we shall prevail. Yes, we must transform Trinidad and Tobago. And with every brick, and brick here mean every individual, every family, every neighborhood, every village, every regional corporation, every city, and the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. The PNM has done detrimental to our country, and they must not see any sight of government. They could rant and rave, and they will be allowed. But at the end of the day, you know what you have to do, as you did on the 28th of April. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow morning on the Ground Report, Andy, Mikey, and myself, as we continue with these and other issues.